the Funky Hair broadcast.
Yep. Waiting on YouTube to go live, and then I'm gonna pause the. Yep, or not pause, mute the thing so I can watch the live chat.
Yeah, I mean it takes a while to kick in. It says it's live, whatever. At some point when it's actually like live.
Oh, it's live.
There we go. It is live. Hey everyone, good to have you guys. Spencer's gonna mute this thing real quick as I play the intro graphic. So hey everyone, hope you've had a fantastic week. I have the wonderful pleasure of speaking with the one and only Codex, or Spencer, as he's also named by his slave name, whatever you want to call that. And we have a fun show for you today. Today I wanted to mostly focus on all the cool stuff being actually built on Dash platform, because I think a lot of people are kind of not realizing what's out there and stuff. And also, before we get started, down there, cointr.ee/thedesertlinks. That's always a little donation address, but in case you haven't been paying attention these last few times, you can leave a live crypto super chat, which knowing you guys will be probably with Dash. And you just go to cointr.ee/thedesertlinks, and then you go pay and leave a message. You pay a few cents. I'd prefer like integers of fiat valuations, but whatever. I'm not going to be a beggar. And you can leave a message, and then it just pops up, and I'll put it live on the screen. Make sure you don't check that private message thingy, because then it'll just go to me privately and won't pop up on the screen. So that's how you let people know that you can kind of do that. Also, I have a custom Bitrefill code finally. So I've been using Bitrefill forever for all kinds of things. Anyone who's heard me talk about it knows that, you can use it to buy gift cards and pay your phone bills and stuff like that. And you can use it without an account. However, when you do get an account, you can start accruing reward points, which acts like a discount, like up to like 5% or more sometimes on, Amazon or whatever else. And when you do have that, when you sign up for an account, you put in the code DCN, then I get a little kickback, and that makes me really happy. So if you're signing up for Bitrefill, please do that. All links will be in the description and stuff like that at the end. But first, I should address the elephant in the room. I'm not wearing a Dash shirt today for the first time ever. Except maybe I am, because this is the Dashtoberfest shirt from Oktoberfest of last year. Do you have one on?
I might, just by chance. I didn't do it on purpose, but I might actually have one on.
Yeah.
Is this? No, not quite.
No such luck.
No,
it's okay.
Not today.
Few were chosen. You know how that works.
I think I had it on yesterday. That's why I thought I had it on today.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We'll take whatever we get. So
when you're as busy as I am, the days blend together. So
yeah, we should get started with mentioning evolution, right? Obviously, we know anyone who's been involved in Dash or knows anything knows this term evolution, and it's taken it's sweet time, because it started as just what one might call, let's just say, unstoppable domains, ENS, or even something like FIO, Foundation for Inter-Wallet Operability. It started as a concept like that, just like, let's get human readable usernames to send and receive transactions. And then over time it became a thing of, well, we're going to do this right. Let's do it the right way, and not just have like an easily addressed linked thing. So whenever I send to @Codex over and over and over again, people start to see exactly how much money you have, and then you're back to the pre-HD wallet days. Didn't want that. And so building this whole thing ended up turning into this gargantuan project known as Dash Platform, which was out on Evo at the very end of last year, and this quarter is going to be out and done on testnet.
Yeah.
I mean, done.
Part of me believes. Part of me believes that, I think as they were designing it, and they were researching how it's going to be possible to have blockchain usernames on Dash, and then they realized that if they design it properly, not only will it work for usernames, but it will work for other things as well. And I think that's why the scope of the project continued to increase, because they started to see all the possibilities that when you design a system like this, like I said, if it's designed properly, can be used for more than just usernames. And I think it's taken a while to to flesh that system out. But what we have now and what we're on the cusp of, getting as the Dash user community is just like pinnacle.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And so a lot of times people will say, when evolution, Evan mistakenly said, we'll just have it out mid 2018. How about that? And then the devs were like, what are you talking about? We don't even know what we're doing yet. And so then they're like, well, some people said, well, by the end of 2018. And then it was, yeah, it's going to be in 2019. And then at the very end of 2019, it was, yay, it's out, but on EvoNet, on this DevNet thingy, it like exists. It's there, but it's not like public. And so I have a feeling that the markets have viciously punished Dash for this. And I'm sure there's other things that have happened as well. But part of the, just the fact that the whole space is diversifying, there's a lot more things. What goes up must come down. In the bad times of the market, the alts, as it were, don't really do as well and stuff. And then the new ones coming up, there's a lot of that stuff. But I do think it's been pretty, the market's been like, oh yeah, we all hyped evolution up for years, and it just now it doesn't look, it's never evolution, right?
Well, and in the meantime, not only that, in the meantime, other coins have been coming out with similar features as Dash has promised, and they may be doing it in a different way, maybe less than ideal, maybe just different altogether, but definitely like usernames at the time that was thought of for Dash, it was thought to be near impossible in a decentralized way. And, since then we've seen different implementations of it that's native on, the Steam or Hive blockchain, EOS blockchain, in a different sort of way than it's been implemented in Dash. Ethereum has the ENS, Ethereum naming system. BSV has Paymail. Monero had the Open Alias, which is Paymail and Open Alias are very similar. But yeah, I mean, so lots of those systems have come out centered around usernames. And so at the same time that Dash has been quietly developing this, I think as other coins get released with these features, people start to go, I don't know, Dash, what does it really have that's unique then? And I think that people just haven't seen the full fleshed out system and what's now capable.
Let me give an example, like a metaphor, as it were, a metaphor of building a house. People are saying like, oh, Dash is going to have the best house. It's going to have a fantastic balcony. It's going to be a 3-story one. It's going to have a huge yard. It's going to be like all marble countertops, all this stuff. They're like, yeah, great. Well, when's this going to be? And then it just takes forever. And then everyone else is starting to build fancy. Well, they got marble countertops too. What about their patio? But what Dash did is build a foundation in a quaint little town that like no one lives in really. Like it's just kind of like a little bit of a ghetto town. And then over 5, 6, 7 year period, all of a sudden, the other places are kind of big city, expensive, crime ridden. This place is becoming the new gentrified little spot where, it's like now it's like overlooking the river and stuff, which is, it's kind of funny. Maybe I'm talking a little bit about my life. I live in a small New Hampshire town that when I visited it a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, it was, it was just nice. It was nice and quaint, but a little, not exactly big city. And now there's 3 breweries walking distance from me since then.
Right.
I live in a nice place on the river. So, which is, it was like right next to, you can still see like an old, like almost like crack housey kind of place, like a low income-ish housing thing. But everything else is nice. And then there's another building, like all these like super classy apartments springing up. And it just like, man, I got in like the right spot, like right here. And just it grew up around to now it's like a fantastic area and kind of thing like that.
I think that's a decent analogy if you think that like if you get into Dash at the right time as all this stuff is being built, then when it's all fleshed out and visible to the public eye, you can be here and benefit from that. It's just like buying a house when the market's low and then the neighborhood around you brings your house's value up, right? Like I get the analogy. That's a pretty good one.
Well, let me just show real quick. Now the caveat to this is alpha. This is on EvoNet. It's not on the main Dash testnet yet, and it's therefore it's not it's not real money we're sending with. But this is the Dash wallet, and whatever people complain. Yeah, you got it too. Now I'm going to go right here. This is going to be terrible for the audio only listeners, but who cares? I love you guys anyway. Send to contact. There's a bunch of contacts. Where is the K-Man Codex? Right here. I hit his name, and then I'll just say, I'll send you $5. I'll be generous today. Why not? I send.
$5 fake. I love
One,
it.
three, and then send. And confirm. See down there it says Codex. Boom. Zip.
Right
See
there.
who I sent it to? There you go.
go.
This is what people have been waiting years for. It exists today. Like, that's the thing when people are saying, oh, I don't know about this, or Neverlution or whatever like that. Well, it exists today. I just showed you. I just sent them. Do you want to show them your receipt?
Yeah, and then we can even look here. This is our history together on the testnet. We can see. Well, I'm having trouble finding my camera here.
Mm-hmm.
We can see when the friend request was sent. We can see when I accepted the friend request. So this is you and I's entire history together, and I was able to do that by just going into my contacts list, which are all usernames, as you guys can see. And then when I click on one, when I click on one, it gives me that user and me's entire history, and then I can up here hit pay, and I've actually got mine set up for biometric, so I'll send. I'm gonna send $6 back.
Ballin' today.
Yep. So I hit send there, and it's telling me to touch the fingerprint sensor to continue. It's kind of blown out there with the light.
So I can kind of see it. It's good enough.
Yeah. And then confirm. So I'm gonna hit send.
Ooh, it says I just got $6. Although I got a little push notification right there. So it really works. It's not real Dash yet, but I'm pretty excited about this because I have sort of looked at a few of the other name service type things, and they're much more rudimentary. But the rudimentary part is especially back end, where
sure.
For example, let's just take the example of some friends of mine are big fans of BSV and therefore Handcash. They use Handcash, which is a streamlined, pretty elegant looking wallet.
It's a nice wallet.
That just, you have contacts you can send and receive to them and stuff. And I believe it generates a new address. Like it's the XPub key, right?
Yeah. So now don't quote me on this, but I'm like 80% sure this is how it works. I think they have your key split into two pieces that they can recombine to create the key. But essentially you have half of that stored on your phone and they have half of it stored on their server. Theoretically, in this way, if their server were to get hacked, your key would not fall into the hands of the wrong person. So that's part of it. But the other part is their username and XPub association is stored on their server. So when when the wallet tries to send to that user, it does a lookup. Mm-hmm. So it looks up, it makes a request to their server. It says, I need an address for this guy. Mm-hmm. The XPub is on their server, generates an address, returns it back, and then it sends to the address, which is a great experience. The only problem being if Handcash's servers go down, your username ceases to work. Mm-hmm. Not only that, because of the way they've split the key, your funds are completely stuck as far as I know. Mm-hmm. And then the other potentially worst part about that is if Handcash were to say deem you a political opponent of some kind or just turn sour as an entire company, what they can do is then they could change their server to now when I request an address for a user, the Desert Links, I can say as like the Handcash company, I can say, you know what, give them my address. We're not actually going to give them an address to a key that Joel controls. You
could probably
scam them. You could man in the middle of that pretty easily. So great experience, but it's no different than any other like PayPal or any other username system.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And when we're talking about making things better, the entire wow factor wasn't you can send and receive in a little easy payment app. It's like, well, no, you can send and receive crypto in an easy payment app, but the easy payment the easy payment app is part of the crypto itself. It's decentralized. Right. It's censorship resistant. That was the cool part. And of course, you have things like, say, ENS, unstoppable domains, things like that, where it's, I guess it's decentralized enough, but it's extremely crude and rudimentary. And then you have, things like Handcash, which works pretty, smooth, but it's not, that. It's not censorship resistant.
So you and I have had this conversation before a lot around usernames. Yeah, a lot around usernames, just because we knew what Dash was working on, but we didn't have the details as far as how it was going to work. So speculated back and forth a lot, and these conversations didn't always happen publicly. But my feelings on a lot of these different types of username systems, and they all have their pros and cons. Like you're saying, Ethereum's, their system, ENS, is relatively decentralized and works pretty well. Part of the issue is, that you create bidding wars for domain names. You have to pay yearly for that username, which is cool. I mean, if you ever want to change your username, you can do that. That's a benefit, right? That Dash doesn't have in their implementation. But again, it's that smart contract. And then the other part of that is Ethereum as it sits now. Things could change with Ethereum too, but as it sits now, fees are ridiculously high. And compared to something like Dash. And now there are people out there that will say it's because Dash isn't being used or this and that could be true. I don't know. It remains to be seen. But all of my research tells me that really it's just because of the way that Ethereum's designed. It's a state machine rather than UTXO model.
Yeah. And so where we get to all this, and we're talking about a lot of what a lot of people would say nerd speak of but it's just decentralized in the architecture that average person does not need to care about this until they do. And
right. Until their payment's been redirected to somebody else.
That's what I was saying is when you extrapolate, because that whenever people talk about all these things about cryptocurrency, how does it better than normal systems and the old legacy systems? How's it better? And you can explain it in a million, again, nerdy kind of ways, but more than nerdy, they're very ideological kind of ways of no one can.
And let's be realistic. Right now, it's currently not better in all ways. Yeah. It's better in a lot of ways. And it depends on what, you have to pick the areas in which cryptocurrency is better than traditional money and decide if that's more important to you than the ways that traditional money is better at this point in time. Now, if you think that cryptocurrency will not become better than traditional finance at this point, as it is now, then you're
probably
sorely mistaken. Yeah. But
now, as far as how do the advantage of cryptocurrency are all the decentralization, censorship resistance, or that's mostly it. And then also, basically
those are ideological. I would argue also from a more practical standpoint, cryptocurrency is far more convenient to send user to user. Now, you can do that in the traditional finance system through things like Venmo and Zelle, but the problem is you have to go from your bank account to this system, which takes 3 to 5 days. And then when it's in the system, you can send, back and forth, which is cool. But then exiting the system costs money as well. And currently crypto is that way also. Yeah. But moving money with cryptocurrency, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, Venmo has never made a profit. It has operated at a loss since its inception, and it can't continue to do that, which is why they're switching Venmo to a Bitcoin wallet.
That's probably one of those things. We'll get into that spot just a sec. What I want to, before we talk about the whole PayPal thing, is I want to mention that these kind of decentralization, censorship resistance, all that kind of stuff, it's not just, a lot of people aren't creative and they just say, if the government or someone shuts you down, you really wish you had these things. Okay, that's true, but there's easier ways to extrapolate that, because all these, again, the foundation, right? You might be building if it's built on a strong foundation, that does translate to the highest level eventually. It does hit the end user experience, even if the user does not care. So, for example, if it is decentralized, you don't have to worry. You have operability between countries. And I don't know how many times I've had it's not in your way. Spotify hates my VPN. I'm trying to, after the Joe Rogan podcast, move to Spotify. I'm like, well, I might as well. He did this to avoid censorship, ostensibly, although I have my own thoughts about that. I want to support him on his new platform. And so I've been trying to use Spotify instead of YouTube because, YouTube kind of sucks. Hey, everyone's watching me on YouTube. um, but then it just doesn't work until I have to pause my VPN every time I start. That doesn't work with a decentralized system where there isn't that whole border thing or in your jurisdiction. And so when you're talking about an actual practical user experience, you don't run into those, like not available to US customers nonsense. When buying crypto, maybe, because those are legacy systems that interface with them. But on just like crypto, it doesn't work. And then also Wells Fargo's app was down for like a week last year, I think. And it's one of those pomp quotes about Wells Fargo is down, Bitcoin is never down. It's like one of those kinds of things where you have that practical thing. And also when you don't have anyone who owns it, who needs, like, you don't have a centralized company that needs to keep milking profits out of it, you can keep the fees pretty low. Like, you don't need to just have all those things cranked up. And that brings me to the whole PayPal thing. So,
Right.
First off, how much have you seen into the PayPal integration?
I've read into it. So what we know so far is that initially, before the end of this year, just within the next few weeks, as far as they say, you will be allowed to buy and sell Bitcoin within a PayPal app.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means to me is you're not sending it to other users. It's like Robinhood or Cash App. Like, what you can do is buy, be exposed to the volatility, and then sell. So we know that PayPal's fee or their profit for that is they're going to trade on a spread. So they're going to charge they're going to buy it at this amount. We know they're using Paxos, so they're going to buy at Paxos's exchange rate, and they're going to sell to users a little above that. That's what we know. We don't know yet if they're going to charge other fees like Bitcoin network fees. We don't know if they're actually even going to hold any Bitcoin. They may just, we don't know exactly how that works. Now, they said by 2021, sometime in the beginning of 2021, Venmo will transition to a Bitcoin wallet. If I had to guess, I would say that they're probably pushing the fees onto users because there's no way PayPal's going to pay that fee. Which the good news is that it onboards a lot of people into cryptocurrency, gets them used to the idea. The bad news is they're going to have a shitty experience the first time they do it because they're going to be using Bitcoin. It's going to be expensive and it's going to be slow. It won't be the same Venmo that they're used to. PayPal's okay with that. PayPal is okay with that because they bought Venmo in order to push users towards PayPal. Mm-hmm. So if people don't like Bitcoin and Venmo, they'll just use PayPal. Hopefully, is what PayPal's plan is.
Yeah, now that's the interesting thing about like the devil's in the details for everything. So you cannot import external crypto. That's one thing they said. You cannot deposit. And if you have crypto, you can't put it. It's all got to be theirs. And you also cannot withdraw your crypto. It's all stays in the platform. And so if you pay a PayPal merchant, because merchants will be taking it too. PayPal merchant, if they take PayPal, they'll take crypto. But you can't actually spend crypto. You have to have it in the PayPal system first, and you can't take it and put it in the PayPal system. It has to originate there. So it's this little closed loop ecosystem thing. And let's be conspiracy theory. Let's take the conspiracy approach first, which is, what if they actually don't have any crypto at all? And they just say, we got it. It's kind of like Tether. Oh, we're like backed by dollars, real dollars, but like on some of them and not really. And that whole shaky nonsense. Now, when you have, and of course there's not, I don't know if there's going to be PayPal audits of like how much actual crypto you're holding. But so you could just be, having what I call a fiat stable coin pegged to crypto. It's just like it's like you got a balance worth whatever amount of crypto you got. Now, there's another thing is, what if they actually aren't dishonest? What if you actually do own crypto there, but they just don't want to let it off their system? Well, first off, I think they're doing that in order to save on, I think they will save on network transaction fees. Sure. So they might almost never move crypto, just kind of like an exchange. Like, say you take there's 10 of us. We each have 1 Bitcoin, right? And so we each deposit 1 Bitcoin. And whenever we buy a Bitcoin, they just buy it and put it to their balance just so they have their customer balances back. And when I send you a half Bitcoin, it does not move at all on their internal ledger. They just check it. Oh, yeah, this much of this is his. And so for a BTC standpoint, like
Yeah, what's the point?
PayPal is what the Lightning Network wanted to be. It's
essentially, yes.
It's Bitcoin's off-chain scaling solution was PayPal. Who knew, right?
Yeah.
Now that's for like Bitcoin. The thing is, PayPal is a company. A company costs a lot of money to run. You have a lot of employees, a lot of infrastructure, and all that kind of stuff, and so they need to take transaction fees. So they're going to have to start taking significant fees, not just on the exchange bit. They're not going to be like a crypto wallet, like a multi-coin wallet that just lets you put crypto in and out, and then they want you to buy it there. Everything is going to
their
cost
business
you.
model, especially since they've openly said they partnered with Paxos, which means that they're not the exchange. Therefore, that's not how they're making money. Oop, I think the mail's here. That's not how they're making money, so they have to do it some way.
Yeah, I think they're making part of the money from there. Like, for example, when I asked Paul Play of Edge, hey, you have a free wallet, how do you make money? And he said 2 things, very upfront, right? Which is, if people aren't upfront in how they make a profit as a company, that's a scam. I don't want to stay anywhere near there. But or they might say, well, some of it's a little bit of a secret sauce, but honestly. Anyway, he said they license their back end to people, as in like the whole architecture, they license it out to people, and they make commissions on the in-app exchanges and stuff. And so, for example, every time, for the old school people who remember when Shapeshift was what people used, when you had the in-app Shapeshift thing, every wallet took a little piece on top of that. And so I'm sure PayPal's getting a bit of that.
Convenience fee for being in wallet, right?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure that that's one thing they're doing, but they will also need to charge something to send or receive. And they won't. It's kind of like, have you ever heard of Coinbase? Let me just pop this thing open really. Yep, that was from from Spencer Live. Don't eat Sour Patch Kids live on video. They get stuck in your teeth.
It's true, and then you got to sit there and...
Yeah, it's all right. A little bit of comic relief. Why not? But so what we have when we... there have been a few stories of Coinbase. People trying to use their Coinbase wallet, because that's where they get their crypto and they store it. They're just like, this is my wallet. They try to send it places and they've had their transactions blocked. Coinbase is like, that's not legally compliant. We won't let you do that. And I don't really see too much of a problem with that because they have to be legally compliant. But the thing about Coinbase, you buy crypto, you move it off, and then you do what you want with it. It's just like they don't control it. But you can't do that with PayPal, which means PayPal banned my account and took my balance and this and that. And, all that kind of demonetization problem is still there with crypto. It's just, all it does is give you reduce your fiat exposure.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Dash has for a long time said that, evolution will be the PayPal of crypto. And now that PayPal is here for crypto, what we're trying to tell you now is Dash is better than PayPal for crypto. Evolution is going to be something that feels like PayPal feels with traditional money.
But smells like freedom. Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's smell like Teen Spirit or freedom, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. But there are a lot of reasons. So first off, it's going to be cheap. Like, it's going to be a fraction of a cent to send a transaction for, the foreseeable future, depending on how the fee models end up working long term. I believe Dr. Derek Tapp said that over like 100-year period when there's 0 block reward left, in order to have enough in fees that it's worth it to miners, it would have to be like about a 5-cent fee per transaction. But of course, that's like 100 years from now. That's just one model. And if there's a tail emission, like a teeny little bit of inflation, you could get that down to like 1 cent per transaction. But whatever it is, really cheap transactions. And then every time I send to you, it costs like some dust friend you on, to add you as a contact on. But
here's an interesting thing
yes.
too. I hate to like interrupt here because I know you're on a thought train, but
Believe me, the train's
speaking
gonna
of
come back.
this 5 cents to 1 to 5 cents or whatever, I definitely foresee a future in which that cost is taken over by the business. Like when you go to Walmart and you pay with crypto, Walmart's they're just gonna pay the 5 cents, the fee for buying at Walmart, because that's part of what they do to compete. Now, if I'm sending directly to you, I'm gonna pay it, but I don't have any problem with that. It's cheap enough that I can pay it, and it's cheap enough that Walmart can pay it. It's way less than they pay Visa right now. So I don't see any issue with them taking that fee over.
So let me ask, Splowik, are you watching right now? Because I just got on my Dash Pay username wallet, Splowik21 sent me about $4 worth of fake Dash. So if you're watching, say something in the live chat or.
Ooh, it's like you got another super chat.
Oh, did you? Let me just screen this, make sure it's not,
No foul language.
Yeah. I can't. It's not popping up quite yet, but,
Yeah. Well.
Oh, it says, I have no idea to breathe. Oh, I don't know who that would be. But basically the point of it would just be so cheap. Sorry, what were you saying right before that? A feeling that I interrupted.
Oh, just about no, I was done, but I was just talking about businesses in the future paying that fee, and which I see as a definite possibility.
That reminds me, because I'm a big fan of the AnyPay point of sale system, because it's basically the only crypto point of sale system as far as I'm concerned. There's quite a few, but the only thing anyone actually uses, I'm not talking smack about Ash and Dash Retail, because that thing works well as well. It's as far as like a, it's
and we've talked about this before. I know that you're a fan of multi-coin.
Yeah, I'm not, because not that I want to use a million coins, but just because, crypto, like notice PayPal just they could have just added Bitcoin, especially since it's not real Bitcoin. Like you don't have to have any exposure to the scaling problems. They could have just added Bitcoin, but they added 5, I think, or they added Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin.
That sounds right.
And maybe they added a stable coin. I don't know, but they already got a stable coin, whatever. But so basically, anyway, AnyPay right now, they finally monetized it in a slight way. They used to just do it for free and then have their ATM business sort of support that end of it. Oops, hit the microphone. Their ATM business sort of support. That's where they got the fees from. But now they have a 1 cent fee on every single AnyPay transaction, because they use BIP70 invoices. So when I pay,
send 1 penny and it sends the rest. Yeah,
I send them 1 cent USD, and because it's a BIP70 is kind of magic. I have to admit. Like I was kind of like, why do we need these payment codes? But no, they're pretty cool.
No, I like payment codes.
So even when the price of Dash fluctuates, it's always 1 cent worth of Dash goes to them, and then whatever the actual invoice goes to the business. So in the future, I can imagine easily, because it is very possible to where I just go and pay the merchant. I literally sign the transaction and then hand it over to them, and they're the one to pay the fee and broadcast it. So even if it's 5 cents, a 5 cent fee, if you think about it, a 5 cent fee on a $1 purchase is what, 5%. That's a little high, right? But then
like
that's just like at that level, by the way. And what happens if you go to $10 all of a sudden? Then that's what, like a 0.5%? Like it starts to go really, and
you go to 100. That's 0.5%.
We're talking about a future world where crypto is just dominating everything. That's all that people use, and so they don't need to convert at all. And so, I mean, conversion already is like 1% if you use Uphold or something like that. So we're talking about those things could work out really well. Now, this got on a giant tangent about fees, but what we're talking about is the actual username benefit of Dash. It's not just send and receive to username. It's a whole decentralized identity system. Right. And like when people are working on cool things, um, I'm so there's a few there's like let's just say three different spots where you can be. Here's the technical spot where you're just like the coder and oh the architecture of this and then the schemas, the way they interact with the identities and this and that and like all that like that understanding. Then there's the end user, which is I can do this cool thing. I can send money here. I can log in there. I can boom. And I'm kind of around this side, but like also sort of on this side, which is like the big picture of like, just conceptual. What if people can do this and an interoperability of that, and it just like it works so well without being all technical because I'm not technical. I'm a moron. But
Me
so
too.
the thing of well, but you know how to code at least, so there's at least some of that. So you can understand this side too, which I kind of don't. So the unique thing that the Dash Identity has is the unified online identity and login. And obviously on a conceptual level, it's which I won't spend too much time on because I could spend a lot of time on. It's really cool that instead of your government ID, instead of your social security number in the US, this is the US example of this, which is the social security number is one form of identification that carries with it like your financial history and a whole bunch of other things associated with that. Now, what if you replace that with your Dash ID? And that doesn't mean, and the thing is, no one controls it but you, and you could have multiple identities if you are, say, Codex to some people and Spencer to someone else, and, the Flying Kangaroo to your whatever else, like however else it works out. And then you have data associated with that you selectively reveal to different parties depending on who. So I can send to Codex. I could send money. And then that's all that gets. And if I want to ship, and I send a request to a shipping thing, like I want to send you some money, your data is saved in your login, not on a site. No one controls it. You control it. But it's protected, by zero knowledge proofs, for example. They were doing some research on that. And then you reveal your shipping address only to me, but no one storing that information, i.e. the master network, knows it. They don't know what that data is. It just goes out there. And then you also have your KYC information. For example, your date of birth, your blah, 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 your country, your passport number, whatever else. It's all in there too. And then you just the same beep, you throw that ID to someone else. And then if they want, they can unlock it there. And then you end up in this frictionless world where you sign up for an exchange, you sign up for a Twitter, you pay me, and then you get an order shipped to you and an invoice for that you pay. All within like 3 minutes, like start to finish, because you don't have to like copy and paste this and put the photo of the blah, blah, blah. It's already set up. One login, you just get everywhere, and you control that ultimately. That's the high level, and that is the awesome thing. And I mean, the high level part is, oh, isn't this awesome that you get to decide who you are? Like for the first time in modern human history, you have your own identity that you control rather than the government issued identity. But on a more user level, I sign up. So
it's just like Google login, right? Like when you go to a site and you've never been on it before, and you see the little sign in with Google button, and you're like, thank God I don't have to sign up for another thing.
Or sign up with Facebook, or sign up with Twitter. I've seen all of those.
Exactly. So it's just like that, but it's funny because you don't even have to like sign up necessarily. You're already signed up. All you have to do is approve interactions with that data contract.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate thing, because like Facebook and Twitter, like not everyone has a Facebook, not everyone has a Twitter. A lot of people have a Google, so that's a little bit more like Google Authenticator, all that kind of stuff. Dash being the new good Google, hashtag don't be evil, right? The good
hashtag can't be evil.
Yes, exactly. That's even better. In fact, that would be a great ad slogan for a platform and all this, the Dash identities. I know that Library, their new site Odysee, their whole slogan at the very front is "Don't be evil." A little bit of a middle finger to Google, which owns YouTube, which is their big competitor. So that's the.
I'm gonna mute myself real quick. I got about like 6 dogs coming in the door.
All right,
so
cool.
you
Do it.
Talking.
Yes, I will keep talking. Yeah, you have one ID, and then you can according to a few of the DIPs that I've read, the Dash improvement proposals, you can have multiple levels of access of those keys. And I know that like Steam has this sort of thing, or Hive now, where it's like you have your private posting key, your public posting key, your master, all these things. It just too complicated, terrible. If you could obfuscate that away from the user and just have different levels of security, where if you lose access to a thing, if someone takes your key, starts signing in, you're not completely screwed because you got the master key. You can just revoke access, and then one thing kind of goes in and carries everything with it. Now I will do another little rant here of another real world example. So Facebook acquired Instagram. I don't remember when they did it, but it's been a while, and they've been separate services. And most notoriously, as far as like, there's a bunch of social apps like Snapchat and TikTok and things like that. But as far as social networks, more or less, like that is your page. That is like a page for it. Instagram seems to be the Zoomer one. Like, young people are all on Instagram. In fact, I know
that's true. Not only that, you know what? I have Instagram, and I don't use it as much as my girlfriend does. But I got on there last night, and it said, "Oh, by the way, Instagram is upgrading. Now you can chat across apps between Instagram and Facebook." And it's like, I purposely don't have Facebook Messenger for a reason. Like, now I have to get rid of Instagram too, because it's not giving me a choice. They really just want to shove that messenger down your throat.
Yes, but that was exactly the example I was going to give, but in a positive way. Now, the people that I know, like I know 19-year-old girls who use Instagram and don't have a Facebook or don't use a Facebook because Facebook is boomer town, right? I'm sorry, it's just boomers. I mean, I was big on Facebook back in the day, but it's still just, it's the older generations like it. The newer generations don't like it quite as much. And that kind of like, oh, now your grandma can message you on Facebook and then it ends up in your Instagram thing. That whole thing is that was a kind of an oversight on their part. However, I think that was really cool. The fact that you could go between the two, as far as a technical and a UX kind of thing, forgetting for a second the problems associated with blending the two kind of different use case networks. I thought that was really cool to be able to message between those. In fact, that's sort of a vision that I would have. One thing that annoys me, because I am on like 8 or 9 different social media networks. Let's see. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Twitch, Memo, Float, Floix, whatever the hell that is, Mastodon, Parler, Minds, and of course Reddit, and then Discord. You add Discord in.
I'm on all those.
You add
Hive,
Keybase, yeah.
And
so between all of those, that's like a dozen right there, and 8 or so of those dozen at least have private messages to them. And so if I'm not checking all of these and someone messages me on one of them, I don't get it. Now, wouldn't this be awesome if you had a Dash social media network, a Dash Twitter, and all your data and messages and stuff and relationships, your contacts, it's all on Dash, not on the social media platform. And then you go into a second one and a third one, and all of a sudden, not only do all your friends, they're all the same in case, and they might not be on these other ones. So it might be, oh, I'm trying to send a, he doesn't do Reddit. Okay, whatever. Oops. Keep on smacking this microphone. I'm going to move it. Rather than that, you have your contacts that work across all platforms, and then you could have a unified messaging system too, where if I DM you on Reddit, then all of a sudden the DM transfers to my Twitter thing, and that would really help out a whole lot. Now, of course, there are some situations where some people might not want to put their messages to Facebook or whatever. The thing is, in those cases, you'd want to either not have a Facebook alternative, or you'd want to have a different identity for that. And so, for example, I would create 2 identities right now, my personal one and one for the Digital Cash Network that you're watching this on.
It's just like having a work email and a personal email.
Yeah, and so there's still ways to segment it, but just that cross thing. And LinkedIn, I forgot LinkedIn. I do get messages and things off that. I also get on Google, like when you're in your Gmail, people can chat to you It kind of goes through Hangouts, or there's a Google Chat thingy. Because my aunt does that. She messages me instead of sending me a Google email. She sends me a chat via Google, and so that's like, oh, what if those could all be in the same messenger system? And that could be pretty awesome. And that's kind of the competitive advantage of all this. Which, by the way, hey Mark, you have not been in the live chat in a long time. How's it going, man? I don't expect
Yeah.
you. I don't
But
expect a live
I
answer,
saw him
but
there saying Facebook permissioned dash permissionless, and he's exactly right. That's the big key. And I can't remember where I was, but it was earlier today. I saw something on maybe Twitter or something, and somebody posted a picture of their Facebook, and they were completely just banned from Facebook. No chance of appeal. No nothing. Facebook said, "Sorry, we've deactivated your account." It says, "We've already reviewed this decision and it cannot be reversed. Click here to download your data." And like that was it. No option to get back on Facebook.
yeah, and let me add another little element to that about the being closed forever. People have been canceled on just about everything, and I am a about as big I'm a big as big a fan without recommending it or believing in it as the future as possible of Twitch. I think Twitch is
Sure.
innovative and awesome. I don't think it's going to be the social network that wins out, and I don't think it's like, again, it's like, no, I'm not gonna use that primarily, but I'll talk so much about it, how awesome it is, because it does new things. And one thing that it does, by the way, is branding, where their whole thing is take back your data. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. That's a great message. I think that we can steal it.
They cut down on spam. They cut down on spam because you have to pay to post. I mean,
Yes.
so there's definitely like things about it that make a lot of sense. And I feel the same way about like Hive as well. Hive is pretty cool. There's a lot of neat things going on there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, decentralized social media is definitely the future. What platform wins out remains to be seen, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Now, this is the Mark's he's in the live chat, and he's kind of getting on my train of thought. I don't know if he's as far as I am on this, but it's still, he says, I want to see encrypted instant messaging supported in the DashPay wallet app. It's perfect for username identities, contact lists, and gives people a reason to open and use the app daily. Yes. And I will take it one step further. What if you had a Dash Twitter that just acted like a nice, fun little social media network that had those encrypted private messages in the app, and you could send the money username to username between your contacts in the app? And I tell people this story all the time. I knew of a fellow, which I don't want to call him a friend because he's in jail right now, but he was a legislator here in New Hampshire, and on the side he was selling cannabis to his colleagues, which is not very legal, not the way he was doing it. And apparently some people who, and this happened because he went to jail for other reasons not related to this, for actual possibly victim crime anyway, but basically they used that to get in and just see who he transacted with and stuff like that. And apparently some people had been messaging him on Facebook, and they sent him money for weed on Facebook Messenger, which I have to say, I'm gonna repeat that so you get to the proper reaction. This guy was getting customers sending him money for illegal weed on Facebook Messenger. How stupid can you get to begin with?
Kind of awesome though.
Yeah, it's kind of, but that's the thing, is that's
Very
what
bold.
people do. Wherever people hang out, like for example, I have to say, as much as I love Signal, and I use Signal a lot, it's like a messages only app. And where are people interact? Like, in order for me to message someone on Signal, I gotta be sitting there oh, I want to talk to this person. Okay, there we go. It has to be, it comes from zero. I have zero reason to talk to people. If I come out with, I have to independently come with a reason and then go message them. If I'm on Twitter, I'm scrolling through Twitter, and then I see a post that you make, and I'm like, oh, dude, that's awesome. And then I want to message this guy privately, and then the message is right there. That's where the flow of information is. And while we're communicating and having a relationship there, while we're transmitting information, one information, bit of information that's great is value. And that's all that money is communicating value to each other. Well, I'm already telling you, oh yeah, that's awesome. Oh, dude, you're awesome. I'm going to tip you for this thing. Good job. Boink. And it goes right there. Or you just say, hey, by the way, I never paid you back for, oh yeah, boom, right there. It's not, what's your Dash address? Let's move this to Signal. Like, which I've done because it's encrypted and it's great, and things like Twitter aren't.
I use it as my daily messenger for sure.
Yeah, but like, imagine if your social media network is also where you can send encrypted messages and pay those people Dash all right there. That is the killer app. And it's probably going to be called Djembe. We'll see. There is a Dash Twitter thing that, as I am not a coder, I am not working on, but I am.
I love the idea and I love the project. I'm not sold on the name yet, though, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out the thing about the name, because I think the name is interesting. Twitter is a pretty stupid name, and same as tweets, but it worked. It just ended up being in a lexicon. And there's one on the Hive network called Buzz, and I love the name. Buzz.
Buzz.
Yeah, I gotta buzz you. And it does sound a little bit more organic, but it's not as specific. There's, again, tons of meetings, tons of things like that we could do. We'll have to figure out something, but as long as it works really well, the namey kind of stuff, Facebook is a little bit of a strange thing. It's a book of faces, which sounds like it's like Harry Potter and the Book of Faces. It sounds something weird like that.
Yearbook. Facebook.
Yeah, a lot of those kinds of things are a little bit weird. So I definitely want to say about all those things how this is a killer app that I don't think anyone else is really working on. And by the way, if you are a crypto agnostic of whatever kind, just let me know if you know of a project that's doing this kind of thing to this level. And I want to know about competitors, because now,
are you talking just in the social media space, or are you talking in identity on the chain?
The second. That's what I'm talking about. Because people, and I do want to know about number one first, because one of the reasons I'm using Twetch is for research purposes. It's not because I just love Twetch. I love to use it. I'm on it all the time to see what other cool stuff they're working on, so we can see how we can make it better and build something really cool off of those basic kind of things. So I definitely want to know about that. Now, there is another thing. People, have been talking about the elephant in the room, which is, what's the matter with, why has Dash's price not been doing super well despite people, despite all the, innovations and things like that going around? And I do believe that Hilawi did a big list of things, and I feel like I could repeat this because it was in a semi-public forum. So someone asked me, well, what's going on? All this cool stuff. How come blah, 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 blah? And I'd like to go, we have about 10 minutes left. I'd like to go point by point on this, and then, we can have a little discussion about a couple of these things, as long as it's not too long. So first off, he says, I think it's a multifaceted, and the underperformance has been for more than a year. Number one, Bitcoin Cash Fork really took the digital cash momentum out of our sales despite us having better tech.
True.
And I have to say, I don't think Bitcoin Cash is going to amount to anything in the end. And I hate to be the one to say that, because...
No, I feel the same.
It's a good
I'm going to say the same thing. I know it. Go for it.
Because the branding's too confusing. It's more of a liability than like an asset at this point. The community is too fragmented. More importantly, they're just forking all the time. It's
the forks, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, no one else can do it. Which Bitcoin? Oh, SV is the other fast. Okay, what about ABC? How about ABC?
I have been and still am a proponent of multiple different coins. Like, you guys always hear me talk about different coins. Like, I've been saying positive things about Ethereum for a long time.
No damn shill.
Yeah. I've said positive things about Bitcoin Cash, and have done work in the Bitcoin Cash community before. I have said positive things about Steam back before it forked. I've said positive things about Hive even recently on this show. So this is no bias. I was a big fan of Bitcoin Cash And then during the fork between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV, I kind of lost a little bit of faith. But then I was like, okay, it's okay. Shed the dead weight, get rid of whatever. And then I was still a fan of Bitcoin Cash. And then just because I agreed with their vision and what they were working towards.
Yeah.
At this point, with another fork imminent on the horizon, I'm done caring about Bitcoin Cash. It's
and more importantly,
it's gonna happen forever.
And more importantly, I think its adoption level has been eclipsed by Dash already. And I was always like, it's hard to tell for sure, but then like all these services like Cointext are starting to shut down. And then I've been looking at the transaction levels, which for a while were significantly higher than Dash's. Dash's are on a slow, steady increase. And Bitcoin Cash has plunged, and now they're like down at the Monero level and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you're not. The only way you overtake a more used project is through, actual innovation, use, and stuff. And so I'm not gonna talk too much shit because I do use Bitcoin Cash. I want whatever. Anyway, number 2, we spent a lot on low value proposals that didn't work out during and after the bull run. Still continues. Those funds are almost always going straight to exchanges for fiat. A lot of MNOs still don't get this basic economic lesson as they don't feel the burn directly enough. It's always some form of, we just need some presence in fill-in economy here, which would be fine if a lot of value is being returned to the network. Now, I don't want to belabor that point much. I do believe that it is true. George, I'm sorry. But there is a solution that's being created, which is, it's going to come very soon, about the modified treasury. Right now, 10% of the coins available to be created every month go towards the treasury to fund development, to fund other projects, things like that. If they aren't spent, they aren't created. If they aren't spent on things, they aren't created. The change would be to instead still create them, but actually send them to miners and masternodes, or just masternodes, depending on how, where we are in a month. I'll leave that vague for now. But
it also makes our final supply more predictable, right?
Yeah, final supply more predictable, but also gives a powerful price signal to people for like, oh, now like masters don't understand they're spending their own money, because if they aren't spending their own units of money,
see it. Yeah, it's through inflation.
Yeah, but when they see it, when they see what they save, if they don't spend, they're going to be a lot. It's going to solve this problem a lot.
Hopefully.
Not alone. Anyway, 3, the evolution delays that we're now just doing a great job with, thank you devs, was damaging our reputation. Yes, absolutely. People, and I do think that people didn't really know what was going on until like the end of 2018, and then they're like, okay, it's going to be out in 2019, and it took longer, so something was out in 2019, and then now 2020 something else is out, whatever. I understand, but more importantly, it's when
it has been disappointing.
Yes.
I mean, not just to people that are naysayers or people that, I mean, it's disappointing to even diehard believers like myself, but at the end of the day, it's getting done, and I'm seeing it. I'm using this wallet on testnet, and it's effing amazing.
Yes, so it is there, but the expectations were Dash ever since 2015, the end of 2015. It's just been, evolution. That's 5 years ago. So I understand and that a lot of people, a lot of the cool things that happened with Dash were not expected. No one expected chain locks. That was collateralized mining way down the roadmap somewhere that they haven't roadmap that nothing.
And that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, which is I think that they started realizing if they're going to do this right, then it opens up all these other possibilities or other things that they need to get done first. And so, seeing that happen is like chain locks is huge.
And instant send by default for every transaction, respendable. It's awesome stuff. And add to that the whole legal structures like the Dash Investment Foundation and the Dash Trust. Those things weren't talked about enough ahead of. They just, hey, by the way, we're working on this. Few people in the community. They weren't like, Dash is revolutionizing governance. No one said that. I think
that's been one of Dash's weakest points, really, has been marketing our strengths, which is funny because Dash haters will say that we just marketed ourselves into the top, whatever.
Very limited marketing, to be honest.
Yeah, but marketing. And I think our marketing is getting better. I think
now here's number 4. Here's number 4. It's a 11-point list. Until recently, we had no real coordinated marketing, biz dev, leadership,
Right.
planning, and execution until Dash Press. Great efforts and steps have been taken by non-DCG proposal owners, but there wasn't enough coordination and strategy by all parties until recently.
Yep.
Yes, definitely
Totally
so.
agree.
And that's one of my. Let me just put this little filter on the light here. That was one of my biggest regrets during the Dash News era, is not being able to work closer with DCG. It was kind of like we were, redhead stepchild. Yeah, I'm sure, faults are on all sides, whatever. But I do believe that this whole thing has been moved past. Now, next, 5. FUD by XMR, BTC, LTC influencers caught up to us. Yes. Now, I think we're over the hump
It's
on
going
that.
to catch up to them, though. I mean, at this point, it already is with Cipher Trace and everything. These are things that we've been saying for so long about, like I was telling you before the show started.
Yeah.
I've been telling people forever that the method of anonymization that Monero uses is cool when it works, but if it ever gets broken retroactively into the past, all the way to the beginning of time of Monero's life, you're no longer anonymous. Now, with the way that Dash does it, okay, maybe it's not super advanced, zero knowledge ring CT signature, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if that one transaction gets broken, of course, your privacy is broken for that transaction, but which hasn't happened to my knowledge. But if it were to happen, theoretically, it's that one transaction. It's not all your transactions into history. And that's the reason that Dash has chosen that way to go. So,
And,
I mean, yeah, there's some FUD from some other projects.
Now, to just answer the FUD thing, first off, I do believe we're over the hill on that, as in no one coming into crypto is like, oh, Dash is a shady project anymore. Not really. There was a time when that was a thing. When that was a thing, and that's the thing, is you have a lot of old school people in the crypto world that just, for example, Coinbase held on forever before adding Dash. And I think that part of that is because all those old school sentiments were there. And I don't think that the Dash core team or whoever was around at the time did enough of a good job combating this, or just everywhere it was said it should have like a rebuttal somewhere. And that was the original point of Dash Force when I got involved late 2016, but it was still like an amateur army. It was not from the top. The top made the mistake, I believe, to just not address these things. And when finally they started to address these things later, like when Ryan was going on Twitter addressing CoinDesk FUD, and Ujin was going on Twitter addressing Fluffy Pony's Instamine FUD and exposing Litecoin's warts and all that kind of nonsense, that's when it started to really turn over. And so I think that's behind us. Number 6. People will debate this, but we didn't cleanly move our branding messaging from a privacy coin to a payment industry / merchant coin. It goes in like your marketing stuff. I do believe I agree with this, while I don't know what the proper solution would have been. At some point, Dash starts saying, let's just downplay the privacy coin thing. There should, and eventually, when Dash started to become delisted from exchanges, the core team came out with look, you can do the same thing on Bitcoin. It's exactly the same. It's just like a more efficient, better way of doing it. But you can do a private send on the Bitcoin blockchain. We should not be regulated differently, and consumer level privacy is paramount. And I think that this is something that'll kind of vindicate Dash in the long run, but I think that should have been done sooner rather than reactively when there was delistings happen. That should have been as soon as it was called Dash and not Darkcoin. They should have thrown that thing out there and just been hardcore and just been aggressive with the news media thing is, hi, thanks for the article. However, Dash is not a privacy coin. Should have been more aggressive in the beginning. But bygones, we're working on that. Cointelegraph calls this a payment coin. Now, 7. More people are finally realizing, thanks to Andy Freer for also saying this, that we should be a more dev-centric in Dash. We've come to we have to have some DCG / corporate leadership.
I can agree with that, Tom.
Yeah, because of regulation entities, etc. But it's time to whittle that down a little bit more and focus on second layer solutions / applications, DApps, SLP tokens, etc., while attracting outside devs and keeping the amazing DCG devs in terms of our proposal spending. Yeah, I mean,
I think that's true. It's because Dash Core Group has been getting paid by the network. It's part of that incentive thing is like, and I can say this as a developer myself, like I worked on Spark for free, plenty. I also got paid plenty, from Dash Boost and whatever. But at the end of the day, it was kind of one of those things where I was like, I can't spend time on this right now unless I can get paid for it because I'm at work, I'm doing other things. Whereas it's because there are other developers in the ecosystem getting paid that you start to think to yourself, like, I can't do this right now unless I can get paid like the other guys, right? Now, and I don't think it's true, though. It's just something that you tell yourself because everybody likes to be appreciated for their work in one way or another. And, monetary appreciation is, of course, nice because it pays the bills. Now, so we kind of got ourselves into a corner with that, but I think we're slowly starting to get away from it because the biggest problem is that Dash Core Group's job is to focus on the protocol development. And it seems that, and maybe this is because they're getting paid or whatever the case is, but it seems that for a while, all of the development surrounding Dash was centralizing around that group.
Yeah, of course.
When I say centralizing, I say it lightly because it wasn't officially centralizing.
It's coalescing around, let's say.
Coalescing, that's the right word. There we go. So we do kind of run into that problem, and I think the more developer friendly that we can be, because part of it is like Dash Core Group doesn't let all their stuff out in the open right away, and so you feel like you're not part of that in group. Well, what am I doing?
That's the cool thing about Andy's thing, and there has been some discussion of trying to hire more core devs and to work on the core protocol, but not under Dash Core Group, to get like one or two to put out dips and stuff like that you can enable other things that we need. So that's being taken care of. Number 8, negative news fed into more negative sentiment, which fell into silent pressure. Vicious cycle. Yeah. What can you do about it? Number 9, this is the big kahuna. Not having a friendly web user interface for trustless masternode shares, in parentheses, DeFi. Shut out regular crypto holders who don't want to spend $70K or so for a masternode. In the near term, we desperately need someone to build a web app for trustless masternode shares with options for time locks, penalty for early withdrawals if someone breaks 1,000 Dash collateral, etc. Have an easy voting interface like CrowdNode does. Now, that's a tricky one, but and I understand the reasons for not, but this needs to be built like a year ago. If you are out there, I will do everything in my power to help you, anonymous dev person, build this thing and get you all the funding you need, get all the attention you need, get all the help, whatever. Next.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we need for sure.
Yes. Number 10, with the exception of a few, in the Dash Dev Discord, not many people will work for free when there's a proposal system available. I don't think people should work for free, generally speaking, but it says a lot when community members are willing to do so.
Right. And that's kind of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, and that goes back to the masters spending their own money because they started to think of things as free money. And I've had a lot of people who just wanted to be part of the community, but then, you should just do a proposal. In fact, even my involvement in Dash Force, I went to the 2017 open house, and I was wanting to do a Cointelegraph article, and I was trying to interview Evan, and he's probably high off his mind or whatever like that, but I was trying to say, hey, Evan, what do you think? And he just interrupted and says, you should start your own newspaper funded by Dash. And he just turned around and left. I'm like, okay, I guess that's what I'm doing. And so I did that. And obviously, I would not trade that entire experience of a few years working for Dash for the world. I did a lot of good things. I'm very proud of my work. That being said, an internal newspaper like that, what if there could have just been Dash-friendly journalists at Cointelegraph and things like that instead? Getting that coverage in an external way, not spending the treasury on it, not being limited by that, growing in professional acumen beyond that, kind of where I've come full circle to right now. And I think that you'll see a lot more of that happen when the treasury becomes a lot more stingy after these kind of things get implemented. So that's going to be fixed.
Yeah.
Especially when you have like a bounty system where people can work and then get paid kind of, but they don't have to do a whole proposal and all that stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
And last one real quick. Commenting moderation for proposals is absolutely broken. I would never recommend anyone go through a proposal process after seeing Dash Central all these years. Before someone says that people only hate comments when they disagree, I would argue that there's plenty of terrible proposal owners with bad characters that should have had comments moderated for them too. Hey, if you guys want to have something fun, go to dashcentral.org/budget and look for the Dash Founders Card, whatever the hell proposal, the Kuvakash one. And just read the madness portal. Not right now, Spencer. Not right now.
No, I'm not doing it right now.
No, not right now. Wait till later. It's just a rabbit hole. You get sucked in there. It's a nightmare. Now, before we we're starting to run over time here, so I'm sorry everyone who we were listening too long. Of this 11-point list, which I don't think I disagree with a single point on that, and I don't know if I'd even add any more to that. There's a few others like the tokenomics and stuff.
Yeah, there were some destructive personalities, but I mean, as far as a community goes, we're decentralized enough that it's not that big of a deal. Although I can definitely say that at least I had some experiences with some destructive personalities within the ecosystem that made me want to get out. Not it wasn't Dash's fault, and it didn't necessarily reflect on Dash, but in my mind I was just like,
it's Bitcoin. Don't worry though, it's Bitcoin Cash's problem.
Oh now. No, I know it is. Yeah, it's Bitcoin Cash's problem now for sure. But in my like I was just like, they're just so toxic. I just need to back off. And it wasn't a Dash thing, but yeah, but it definitely toxic personalities, and I think we're growing constantly, right? Like Dash is always getting more mature and understanding things. And like now we're starting to see, okay, masternode proposal money is not free money. Yeah. This is money that needs to be worked for, and people need to try hard. So proposals are always getting more professional. Personalities that just need to suck up all the limelight are becoming less and less because people are becoming less blind to the bullshit. And so we're growing constantly. We're getting more mature. And, once those things get figured out, like there's no stopping a decentralized autonomous organization, really.
So let me, before we wrap up on that list, if you have any ideas or things like that, or comments, if you want them read now, cointr.ee/thedesertlinks, throw a little donation with a message and I will read them. So that being said, of that big list, it makes me happy looking at this list because first off, I think it's relatively comprehensive, but second, almost all of those are fixed or in the process of being fixed. There's two, which is fantastic. It's like, what has been holding us back? And it's like, oh, I understand, but I don't even have to worry about that anymore because it's all being fixed. So that's a fantastic position to be in.
Sure.
Two ones that are still there. Number 9 and number 11. Number 9, not having a friendly web user interface for trustless masternode shares. And I have experience, I've seen people set up semi-trustless masternode shares with like a multi-sig kind of thingy where one person can broadcast a refund transaction and explode the node if they want to get out. I've seen that happen, right? But it's not user-friendly. If there's like an app like Copay, like, do you remember Copay? Did you ever use Copay back in the day?
Yeah, I liked it actually.
Imagine.
And I think that Bitcoin Cash's first iteration of their wallet was based on Copay.
Yes. Now, of course, Copay had a lot of technical debt and problems. We all know that. But the Copay experience for trustless masternode shares, there you go. It works. Dash DeFi. Now, there are a lot of trusted staking things that are popping up all over the place, and that's great for the people that don't want to custody their own money, and there's CrowdNode and other things like that too. As long as there's that trustless thing, that can get hype. Mostly what that does is it doesn't just let people like us participate. It gets a few people like us, but mostly gets people excited enough to then be like, I'm just going to use the custodial solution anyway. Let's be honest.
Right.
But the fact that you don't need that, it's DeFi. Like, oh my gosh, people will go that. So number 9, and then number 11 is not anywhere close to being solved, which is the comment moderation, because people say, oh, we all go to Dash Central, therefore it has to be open. It has to be uncensored.
I use Dash Nexus.
Yeah, I use, but none of the conversation happens there.
I know.
So
Should though.
what you need is a Dash Nexus or Dash Central type thing, and you have vigorous moderation. First off, non-MNO versus MNO. You have to in fact, the whole thing should be non-MNO. The whole thing should be MNO only. I think.
Agreed. You should be able to view as a non-masternode owner, but you should not be able to comment as a non-masternode owner, and I think that's important.
Yes, because you can comment anywhere else. You can shit post on Twitter. You can post on Reddit. You can post on Discord. Be like, oh, they
just don't filter out the noise. As a proposal owner, a previous proposal owner myself, it's one of those things where you just don't know who to listen to. And as somebody who, like, I'm running for city council right now, so that's part of, like, I want to make sure that when people are talking to me and telling me problems with the city, that these people are people that I represent. They got to be from this town and they have to live in city limits, right? So that's relatively easy as far as city council goes, especially because I live in a small town. So, like, I know all these people. But from a proposal owner standpoint, you don't know who the masternode owners are or aren't. And so it becomes a battle of, oh, well, this person says this and this person says this. I don't know which I should do, one way or the other. If only one were a masternode owner, it'd be relatively easy to decide who to put there.
And the other thing is aggressive moderation, where you limit the number of comments that people can do, like, or how fast they can do. Like, they can only do one comment thread. They can't start multiple. You can't spam things. And if people are saying off-topic things, they could be deleted. If people are saying unkind phrasings of things, they can also be deleted. Things like that. Oh, it's censorship, sure, but
and maybe it doesn't get deleted. Maybe it's like Reddit, where if it gets this, how, like, on Reddit you get a certain number of downvotes,
that's
it gets
a
hidden.
system ripe for abuse, but basically, like, centralized moderation to keep things fixed. And what you got to, because the proposal comments are not on the Dash network. They're on an external website. Right. And so that doesn't need to be decentralized. What is, if you have, like, a few different portals, like, for example, like, let's just say Dash Nexus takes over, actually, finally, after we paid a lot of money for it.
It's really a much better platform.
Let's say people start using that instead. You should have pretty rigorous moderation, so it's very squeaky clean and professional. If people start saying too many mean things or whatever, just mods are going to whack you. It doesn't matter. That's the face. But if people say, like, you know what, that's too prim and proper, I want to go to, like, the dungeon or whatever, then you go back to Dash Central, and then people are, you get to see all the stupid troll comments and the hate and all that kind of stuff. But whatever. But, like, there's a multiple experiences you can pick, but the main one has to be squeaky clean and professional. And I think we've run out of time. Any parting thoughts?
Parting thoughts would be, just keep in mind that every project out there has its pros and its cons, and Dash is working on its cons. Our pros are numerous. So I would encourage everybody to not lose faith. If you think for some reason that Dash's price is going down and it's depressing you, well, join the club. But at the same time, the prospects in my mind have never been higher.
Of course.
If for some reason you're doubting evolution and you haven't got a chance to use that testnet wallet, you need to get yourself a copy, because it makes the experience for me. Not only that, I just noticed that I've got some gray in my beard. That might be because of the Dash prices. I don't know.
I got some here. Last live show, I yanked out a big old gray hair just before because it was showing too much.
Is there an after party?
Yeah, that was what I was about to get to. So first off, thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a pleasure. It's been a long one, and it's been a lot of good stuff to get off our chests, and I'm glad it wasn't like a oh, we're trying to talk to this expert, this member of the core team or whatever, to detract from just all this stuff to talk about that's just out
Oh yeah,
there.
I did want to clarify that because there seemed to be a little bit of misconception in the chat. I am
Uh-huh.
not a member of Dash Core Group, not a member of Dash in any official capacity other than the fact that I own Dash, and I am a software developer and have built some projects for Dash.
Hmm.
Outside of anything, outside of that, nothing official.
And he's
For
just overall a very dashy fellow. So
I tend to be.
thanks so much, everyone, for listening. This was a great thing. The next 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, these podcasts, the next two will be pretty cool. Do not miss the next one or the one after that. There's going to be a development update, and there's going to be a major governance proposal one as well. So the next two are big ones. This one was a lot of fun, a lot of stuff to get off our chest. But if you miss it, you just missed a lot of great discussion and insight and stuff. You don't miss like, oh, wow, I didn't realize this was going on. So don't miss the next two. And if you use Dash, you probably want to get a Bitrefill account. So you go to bitrefill.com, or there's going to be a link down below if this is not live. But you want to go to Bitrefill, and then you want to sign up for an account with the code, the coupon code, whatever, DCN for Digital Cash Network. And then, yeah, you going to get points for all the stuff you buy. And then I already got like $10 that I can spend from that kind of stuff. So that's cool. Now, guess what? Like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things. If you like this, if you want to just say a message that's not live, the live crypto chat, the coin tree, works as well. Like next day, hey, great job, I like this, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to have you have this person on it sometime if you want. Whatever, just do that. That works. Subscribe, share, all that cool stuff. Now guess what it's time for? The big A in the sky, the after party. It's just like this, except it's not recorded, not live, not anything like that.
I mean, it is live. It's just not aired live.
Yeah, it's not aired live. It's not recorded. And it's not necessarily as professional. People come and go up until the wee hours of the morning. And
I'd throw a few more F-bombs out there.
yeah, quite a few more. And yeah, the way you do that, first off, you got to be one of the cool kids. You got to be in the Dash Talk Discord server. That's staydashy.com. Staydashy.com. Right there in the live chat. And that gets you into the Discord, and then you just start asking around, hey, where's this after party at? I haven't heard an after party. Where's the after party? And then we'll get you plugged in. So thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm going to play the little outro stuff that has all the cool stuff, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bob's going to be on. See ya.